So now it's time to put back your focus and be in the moment. We are about to resume our session and be our own boss. But in order to do that, it's important to know your worth, get in touch with yourself, and accept your strengths and weaknesses. And that is what we call self-love.
Why is self-love important? We will now be hearing from the happiness doctor why self-love is the solution to our issues. She founded Atma Prema Wellbeing Group as a platform to teach self-love to every man, woman, and child in the world. Let us all welcome here at Be Your Own Boss, Dr. Lia Bernardo.
Right here. Hello, good afternoon everyone. My name is Lia Bernardo and I'm here with you today to talk about on being happy. I know I can't see you, but I can see the chat and I'd really like to hear from you. And so tell me how many here want to be happier? Or you can raise your hand, or you can even put a heart. But I'm willing to bet that even though I can't see you, that every single one of you present here today wants to be happier. And it doesn't matter if you're already happy or not so happy, but every single person, if you ask anyone, regardless of their age, their gender, or even their social status, if you say, who here wants to be happier, every single person in the room will raise their hand. And the quest to be happy is really a lifelong human quest, which is why I've decided to really take it on as my advocacy, because I really feel that happiness and self-love is the solution to everything. Because folks, yes, we're all here to do business, right? To open our own businesses, to be our own bosses. But at the end of the day, why do we want that? We want that because it's going to give us independence, it's going to give us freedom, it's going to give us worth. And at the end of the day, why do we want all of that? It's because it's going to make us happier. And so join me this afternoon as I guide you through how to be happy or on being happy. And every single day we make a choice. Every time you wake up in the morning, you determine whether you're going to have a good day or not. Nasa sa pananaw natin yan. It's all about perspective. It's all about how are we going to look at things? How are we seeing things? Because we're all on the same bus. We're all on the same road. But what are we looking at? What we're looking at is exactly what's going to determine our state of being. Our state of being, our frequency, our well-being. And your happiness is determined completely by your state of being and nothing else. And so it's so important that when we are feeling down, or we're feeling uppy, or we're feeling victimized, or we're feeling that someone is doing something to us, it's so important that we stop and we change the perspective. Palitan natin yung ating pananaw. Because it's that very perspective that's going to determine whether you're going to have a smile on your face or whether you're going to feel like a victim. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that, or don't know, not that they don't understand, they don't know that behavior is determined not by the conscious mind, which is the logical mind, which is the mind we're using right now, but your subconscious mind, which is not the logical mind, not the mind that we're using for thinking. It's the mind that we use for feeling. And so we don't really see that how we feel determines our behavior. How we feel determines our attitude. What we believe, and this is the most important of all, what we believe creates our life. Remember that. It is your belief systems that determine your life. So everything that happens in your life is created by your belief system. And so what's important here is that the key to happiness is to learn how to understand yourself, learn how to direct your feelings so that your feelings support you rather than your feelings bringing you down, and you can train your mind to be stronger than your emotions. And how do we do this? It's self-love. And I'm so happy. I'm just really, really happy that Tina and Max have really advocated self-love into Pinay Girl Boss, because I think that's really what's going to set this program apart from everything else out there. Because self-love is the foundation. It's the foundation of everything, because that's what's going to determine how big you're going to dream and how much you're going to go towards that dream. Because self-love is the only way to joy, to inner peace. And I'd like to share this very, very important point with you. You are not broken. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You know, sometimes we have this phrase in Tagalog where we say, sandali lang inaayos ko muna yung sarili ko. I'd like to encourage everyone to stop using that. Kasi walang kailangan ayusin. The only thing we need to do is look inwards, face that camera inwards, not with the intention to fix yourself, but with the intention to like what you find. So with self-love, you're not there to fix something that has been broken. Okay? You are there to accept yourself just the way you are, because we all have our kinks, we all have our quirks. Diba? Lahat naman tayo may sayad, diba? May tao bang walang sayad? The trick there is to accept yourself. And I'm not even going to call it flaws, because how can you say that anger is flawed or is a fault or that it's bad? There's nothing about you that is flawed or bad, because sadness serves a purpose. Anger serves a purpose, right? Probably the only thing I will say that is not supposed to be there, that most of us seem to run, is guilt and shame. And that's something that a lot of people carry with them. And part of my work is to really teach you how to live your lives without guilt and shame, so that you can be the best version of yourself. And you can be deserving of your dreams. You can be worth your dreams. Because with guilt and shame, deservingness and worthiness go out window. And so I'd like to introduce you to the Mastermind. I call it the Mastermind because to me, it's a superpower. If you practice this and you understand this, you will be able to map out and co-create the life that you want to have. And what is the Mastermind? It's very simple. Your words become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your beliefs. Your beliefs become your life. Every decision, every action, every reaction that comes out of you or that you do is based on your beliefs. And when you understand that your beliefs will simply put there since the day we were born, through culture, through schooling, through our friends, through media, doesn't matter how it got there because it's there, but we can change it. And that's the superpower. When you're able to change your beliefs, you're able to change the outcomes in your life. Okay? I'd like to give you an example. And since we're talking negosyo, let's talk money. Because why are we in business for, right? If not to make a profit. And yet, again, it's the same as happiness. If I ask you, how many of you want more money? All of you will raise your hands, right? But some of you, most of you, in fact, will have a belief that money might change things in your life. Some people have a belief that money is the root of all evil. Some people believe that money might make their relatives run after them or expect their relatives to live off them. Some people have a belief that money can alter you, can make you mayabang, for instance. And it doesn't matter what the belief is, but if there is a belief that is negative towards money, no matter how much you work or how hard you work, money's not going to come to you simply because you have that belief. And off the top of my head, I'm just thinking, it's the same. A lot of people have this belief that if you work really, really hard, you'll have a lot of money. And that's not necessarily what we teach. We want you to work really, really smart so that you can have a lot of money and have time to enjoy it. And so these are the belief systems that we teach, that we sort of plug into your subconscious so that the results of your dreams, of your desires, of your life becomes in support of you. And that's what living, you start to live your life as if you are supported because you are completely supported. And you create that for yourself. And all of this begins and ends with self-love. So what is self-love? My definition is that self-love is the relationship that you have with yourself. And that it's a loving, compassionate, kind, accepting, positive, and uplifting perspective of who you are. Right? It's an acceptance of every part of you, including those parts that you are defining as not so nice. And it's being comfortable enough in your humanity to be human. Meaning, yes, I'm the happiness doctor, but I get sad, I get sungit, because I'm a human being. And so are each and every one of you here with us today. So there's nothing about you that's negative. There's nothing about you that's not nice, and there's nothing about you that is broken. And so I'm of the opinion that there is no dark side to us, that we are human beings and we are an integration of a whole gamut of emotions. And none of those emotions are good or bad. It just is. And it just makes us human. So being happy is a state of being. So when you make your state of being your priority, you will find that you're creating happiness for yourself right here and now. Because happiness is an inside job. And we have a group, it's called Raising Frequencies. I think some of you are part of it. And that is what we teach. We really calibrate people towards how they're feeling inside, because how they're feeling inside will determine how you treat yourself, number one, and how you treat others. Because there is no way you can be kind and compassionate to other people if you're not kind and compassionate to yourself. There is no way you can be non-judgmental towards someone if you are judgmental towards yourself. You'll find that the most judgmental people are those who are constantly criticizing themselves. And that's the interesting part about behavior. When you understand that how you treat yourself is how you will treat others, and how others treat you is how they treat themselves, you will understand to A, not take things personally, and B, have compassion for other people and bring that compassion back to yourself. And I'd like to share with you, and this is something quite popular. You can Google this. It's available in all over. It's all over Google. It's Masaru Emoto, and I love his teachings because his teachings actually shows us how frequency or your state of being affects even the cellular structure of water. Our bodies are made up of 70% water, give or take. And so it's so important to understand that when we generate feelings, when we are in a state of being, we are actually altering even the molecular structure of our own bodies. So these aren't the exact, the one on the right, which is the one that says, I will kill you, is not the exact photograph, but it's similar. And what Masaru Emoto did was he got canal water and froze that molecule of water and put it under a special microscope. And that polluted water looked something like an oil slick. For that same source of water, 4 hours later, he exposed to Hado, or Japanese healing music. After 4 hours, what looked like an oil slick turned into something that resembled a snowflake, meaning the molecular structure of the water changed. And this is what happens when we raise our frequency, when we choose happiness over sadness, when we try to flip our emotions from something that's not feeling good to something that feels good. And so these are the exact pictures where I will kill you. What he did was he took drinking water, and in one he put, I will kill you, and the other he put, thank you. After 4 hours, same source, the one that said, I will kill you, looked like an oil slick, and if you look closely at the slide, you can even see a silhouette of a guy with a gun. But more importantly, the one that said, thank you, if you look at it, it's one molecule of water, frozen, and it's a beautiful snowflake. This one is gratitude. See, gratitude is a higher frequency than thank you. And as you can see, it's already a little bit more intricate. This is my favorite. It's love and respect. And because love is so multifaceted and multidimensional and multi-layered, you can see that even in the picture, it reflects that. So when we love ourselves, when we're giving that love and appreciation and respect to ourselves, we're actually altering our own molecular structure. And the last one is meditation. To me, meditation is the deepest form of prayer, because to me, in meditation, that's when we listen to the divine. We come into communion with the divine. And if you look at the frequency of meditation, it shows you how this is one molecule of water, how beautiful and how intricate and how complex that communion with the divine is. And of course, you can do this at home. And this was actually taken from an American blogger who decided to duplicate the experiment at home. And she took rice and 2 canisters. And in one canister, she put, "I hate you." And in the other canister, it said, "I love you." 27 days later, the canister that said, "I love you," she claims, still had rice in it that smelled like it was freshly cooked. And so this is what we mean when we say frequency. It's what's going on inside of you. It's that state of being. My teacher calls it your internal weather vane. What is your internal weather vane? And this is a little trick I use and that I teach to my students. It's when you are feeling expansive, you know you're in a good frequency. When you are feeling contracted, you know you're not. And that's a great way to calibrate yourself. Why? Everyone watching, think of one thing you're afraid of. Okay? And as you thought of that, what's the first thing that happened? You froze, right? So everybody thinks that when we're afraid, we freeze. We paralyze ourselves into fear. While that is very true, the reason you're getting paralyzed into fear is because you stop breathing. When you are afraid, the first thing that stops is the breath. And so when you go, you stop moving because you're not breathing. What is breath? Flow. What is breath? Life. So the more expansive and flowing the frequency, the breath is more fluid. And therefore, you feel more expansive. Whereas, if you're holding guilt and shame, which is the lowest frequency, you're contracted. And some people feel it in the heart area, wherein the heart contracts or expands. And use that. And know that that's the calibrator for you. It's not a calibrator of good and bad. So if something, like a room or a place or someone, does not feel good to you, it doesn't mean they're bad. It just means it's not a match to you. So the wording, remember the mastermind, your words become your thoughts become your beliefs, your belief becomes your life. So when you say something is bad, you're putting a judgment to it, but when you say something is not a match, it's neutral. There is no judgment. Okay? Because there are going to be some people that are a match to you and some people that are not. And that does not make them good or bad. And so my formula for raising your frequency, my students all know this. Under raising frequencies, we have a formula. It's called move, learn, grow, create. And it's very general because I feel that each person is different. And so movement, for instance, there's some people that like to go to the gym. There's some people that like to run on a track field. There's some people that like to jog. You can't get me to jog, even if you paid me. And so there are many, many ways in which we can move. You can do Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, or you can work out. CrossFit is movement. It's whatever makes you able to move your body, to move your chi or your energy centers, because movement is an essential part of your well-being. It also helps you secrete your happy chemicals. And so after you've moved, dancing is also a great way to move. So dance like nobody's watching, and that is movement. And that creates happy hormones all over. And so it's so important that you have a certain form of movement every day. And that movement can even be going up and down the stairs or walking the dog. It doesn't have to be anything strenuous, but it has to be in a way that moves your body, because it moves the energy, because stagnated energy will not make you feel good. Learn. At the end of this, I will share with you a book that I would like for you to read. It's an easy read. It's 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. All my patients and my students get this recommendation because I think it's an amazing book for people who want to start out on appreciating themselves and appreciating others. Because learn is so important. Every day, learn something new. Whether it's a life skill or a work skill, something that will make you do your job more efficiently. It doesn't matter as long as you are learning, because the learning never stops. The learning is actually going to contribute to your self-esteem. You notice whenever you learn something new, you have more confidence and you develop more self-esteem. So it's so important that we learn something new every day because it really raises our frequency. Grow. Grow is meditation or stillness. One of the more important definitions of being happy is the amount of time you can spend in stillness and in the pleasure of your own company. If you cannot keep still, if you cannot be alone with yourself, again, that's an alarm. It's time for you to start spending more time in silence, more time with yourself to like who you are. And this cannot happen without a spiritual practice. I believe self-love and spirituality go hand in hand. And again, it's whatever spiritual practice feels good to you and resonates with you. There's no right or wrong. And create. Create is where we dream. Create is where we express ourselves. Create is what did we do today to create our own heaven on earth? And I know it sounds lofty. However, creating your own heaven on earth can be as simple as sleeping in for an hour. Heaven on earth can also be experienced by staying in pajamas all day and not being guilty about it. Okay? So it's really your own creation on what you're going to do today as kindness for yourself. And this is what we refer to as vibrational hygiene. You are 100% responsible for your vibrational hygiene. What is that? It means you need to be responsible for everything that you allow into your space. What you listen to, what you watch. So with this pandemic going on, the first thing I told my patients is cut the news. Stop watching the news. It's good for your emotional health to stop watching the news. And you can get news sources from bits and pieces so that you're informed, but don't drown yourself in the news because you're going to get imprinted by that vibration. The people you hang out with, make sure you're with people you want to become. Gossiping, talking bad about other people, judging other people. When you swim in that frequency, that's what you become. So that's vibrational hygiene. What do you allow into your space and what you don't allow into your space? We also call this creating unambiguous boundaries. So what's the shortcut to happiness, folks? It's so simple. Be happy now. Decide to be happy now. Make your vibrational frequency your #1 priority. Through raising your frequency, how do you raise your frequency? Move, learn, grow, create. That's also how you will eventually develop a healthy, loving relationship with yourself, which is what we refer to as self-love. Focus inwards, because there's nothing outside of yourself that's going to make you happy. Absolutely nothing. All the answers are in you. And we're talking about empowerment today. In our languaging, empowerment we call self-sovereignty, meaning you decide for yourself what is good for you. You become your own guru. You become the master of your own life. Practice gratitude. Every day, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Actually, put it on the chat right now. What are the 3 things you're grateful for right here, right now? I mean, I know you're grateful for your family. I know you're grateful for your friends. But for right here, right now. I mean, right here, right now, I'm so grateful for technology. It's allowing us to be in your homes. And so tell us what you are grateful for. What is that thing that you are grateful for right now? And keep listing them down. I'm seeing them. May kuryente na. Yes, thank you, right? May kuryente, may Wi-Fi, that the rain stopped. Being alive, I love it. Having a job, yes. Technology, that you survived COVID. That's, such a beautiful thing to be grateful for. Food, shelter, family, I love it. Keep it coming. For coffee, yes, I'm always grateful for coffee, thank you. And essential oils, that's exactly what we did right before coming in here. So lovely, keep it coming, keep it coming. And then I'm going to ask you to start a list, and whatever you write on the chat, cut and paste it into a note app on your phone, because you're going to write the most important list of your life. Write down what makes you happy. And a lot of things you're grateful for can be that too. What makes you happy? Why is this so important? I have a running list on my phone because my phone is always with me and I don't bring a journal with me. So it's whatever works for you. And why is that important? It's because when you're not feeling too good, and we all have those days, go back to your list and do 3 things from your list. If you're still not feeling good, do 3 more things from your list. If you're still not feeling good, then do 3 more. And I promise you, once you move, learn, grow, create, and do stuff from your happiness list, it is impossible not to flip that feeling. But having this list is so important. Why? Because when you're not feeling good, you're not going to remember what makes you happy. So write down things that make you happy. This isn't my list, by the way. I just took this from an image bank. But make your own. Make your own. And I'd love to see what makes you happy in the chat, because you'll find that a lot of things that you're grateful for are also the same things that make you happy. And yeah, that's exactly what I just said. So to generate joy, make a list of things that make you happy. Do at least 3 things a day from your list that make you happy. Raise your frequency and calibrate yourself to feel good. Make your vibrational frequency your priority. And I promise you, it's going to be next to impossible to not be happy. And I'd like to leave you with this learning. And if you can grab this book, it'll probably be one of the more important books you're ever going to read. It's called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And the first lesson is, be impeccable with your word. Do what you say. Okay? That what you say needs to have honor. Your words need to have honor. Because your words, part of the mastermind, your words become your thoughts become your beliefs become your life. The second one is actually the most difficult lesson of all, is to not take things personally. And I think this is a very crucial mindset to have, not just for being your own boss, but for being your own person. Because when you stop taking things personally, you are gifting yourselves with major emotional freedom. And when you understand that what people think of you actually has nothing to do with you, you'll find that you're wasting a lot of your time ruminating over what people think of you when it has nothing to do with you. Don't make assumptions. Ask for clarifications. And you'll find that when you're running your own business, or even when you're working with teams, or when you're in community, communication is key. And there will be ambiguity in your communication sometimes. And so never make assumptions, because a lot of conflict happens when you start making assumptions. And the fourth is to always do your best. There's a Greek word that I love. It's called meraki. And it talks about leaving a little piece of your soul in every little thing you do. In wrapping a gift, in sending an email, in making a presentation, in doing a business plan. It's everything that you do reflects who you are. And so I'd like to have a little bit of input on your perspective this afternoon by leaving you with this quote, one of my favorite quotes from Rumi. And it goes, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a single drop." And with that, I leave you with these thoughts on being able to really calibrate yourself to your highest frequency at any given day. And remember, folks, I want to leave you with the knowing that you are the most perfect version of yourself right here, right now. And stop trying to make yourself better, because there's nothing to make better. Okay? You are the most perfect version of you right now. You learn, you move, you grow, you create, you become a more evolved version of yourself. So you grow, you don't become better. Because there's nothing to make better. Okay? And I really want to leave you with that, because it's about growing, it's about evolving, and knowing that you are enough. And if tonight you can go to bed and just tell yourself that you are enough, say it to yourself, I am enough, because when you use the words I am, it's very, very powerful. So before going to bed, tell yourself, I am enough, I am worthy, I am deserving. And with that, I leave you with that thought. This is Lia Bernardo for the Atma Prema Wellbeing Group, and I hope you enjoyed this talk this afternoon. Thank you.